The night sky has always been more than just a canvas of twinkling lights. It was a lifeline for ancient civilizations. For cultures like the Egyptians, Polynesians, and Mayans, the stars weren't just beautiful. They were tools of survival, power, and divine connection. Imagine standing on the shores of an uncharted ocean with no compass or map, relying solely on the patterns of stars above to guide you to distant lands. Or think of a ruler gazing at the heavens, interpreting celestial movements as messages from the gods to shape the fate of their people. How did these ancient societies turn the cosmos into a map, a clock, and even a source of authority? In this video, we'll uncover the secrets of how civilizations harnessed the stars to navigate vast oceans, wield political power, and leave a legacy that still influences our understanding of the universe today. Get ready to journey through time and space where the stars were not just observed, they were mastered. Picture this, a vast, endless ocean stretching in every direction with no land in sight. Now imagine setting sail across that expanse with nothing but the stars above to guide you. This was the reality for Polynesian voyagers, some of the most skilled navigators in human history. These ancient mariners embarked on perilous journeys across the Pacific Ocean, discovering and settling remote islands long before modern technology existed. How did they do it? The answer lies in their mastery of the stars. For Polynesian navigators, the night sky was more than just a beautiful backdrop, it was a celestial compass. By memorizing the positions of key stars and constellations, they could determine their direction with astonishing precision. The North Star, or Polaris, served as a fixed point in the northern hemisphere, always indicating true north. In the southern hemisphere, the Southern Cross played a similar role, acting as a reliable guidepost. These stars became their anchors, helping sailors maintain their course even when the horizon offered no other clues. But it wasn't just about identifying a single star. Ancient mariners developed intricate star maps, connecting constellations into mental charts that allowed them to navigate vast distances. They memorized the rising and setting points of specific stars, using them as celestial landmarks to plot their routes. For example, the rising of the star Arcturus might signal the right time to head toward Hawaii, while the appearance of Sirius could indicate the approach of a particular island chain. This knowledge wasn't written down, it was passed orally from one generation to the next, a testament to the ingenuity and dedication of these early explorers. What's truly remarkable is how these navigators used the stars to venture into the unknown. Without maps, compasses, or even a visible horizon on cloudy nights, they relied on their deep understanding of the heavens to find their way. They observed subtle changes in the stars' positions, the color of the ocean, and even the behavior of birds to refine their navigation. This combination of celestial knowledge and environmental awareness allowed them to traverse thousands of miles of open water, settling islands that would later become thriving communities. The stars didn't just guide these ancient mariners, they empowered them to achieve the extraordinary. But their celestial tools weren't limited to navigation alone. As we'll see next, the stars also played a crucial role in shaping power and authority within these early civilizations. In the ancient world, the stars weren't just points of light in the night sky, they were tools of power. From the banks of the Nile to the fertile plains of Mesopotamia, rulers understood that the heavens held a special kind of authority. By mastering the movements of the stars, they could weave their own legitimacy into the fabric of the cosmos. Take the pharaohs of Egypt, for example. They didn't just rule their people, they claimed to be living gods, descendants of Ra, the sun god himself. This wasn't just grand storytelling, it was a calculated move. By tying their reign to the celestial order, pharaohs reinforced their divine right to rule, making their authority seem as eternal and unshakable as the stars above. But it wasn't just about symbolism. Astronomy played a practical role in governance too. In Mesopotamia, kings relied on the movements of planets and stars to guide their decisions. An eclipse or a rare planetary alignment wasn't just a celestial event, it was a message from the gods. Priests and astronomers worked hand in hand, interpreting these signs to advise rulers on everything from declaring war to planting crops. Imagine the power of being able to say, "The gods have spoken and this is their will." It was a way to unite people under a shared belief system while consolidating control. Perhaps one of the most striking examples of this celestial authority is the Great Pyramid of Giza. Built with astonishing precision, its alignment with Orion's belt wasn't just an architectural marvel, it was a statement. The pharaohs believed that by mirroring the heavens on earth, they could secure their place among the gods in the afterlife. This connection between the stars and monumental architecture wasn't unique to Egypt. Across ancient civilizations, rulers used the sky to inspire awe, command loyalty, and justify their rule. As we move forward, we'll explore how these celestial connections went beyond governance and into the very fabric of daily life. The stars didn't just guide kings, they shaped entire societies, from the timing of festivals to the organization of labor. And at the heart of it all was the celestial calendar, a system so precise and powerful that it still influences us today. Long before modern clocks or digital calendars, ancient civilizations looked to the heavens to measure time and plan their lives. The stars weren't just points of light in the sky, they were tools for survival. For cultures like the Maya and the Egyptians, the movement of celestial bodies dictated the rhythm of their days, seasons, and years. These societies developed intricate calendars, aligning their agricultural cycles with the stars to ensure bountiful harvests and stable communities. Take the Mayan long count calendar, for instance. This wasn't just a way to count days, it was a masterpiece of precision. The Maya tracked the movements of the sun, moon, and planets with astonishing accuracy, creating a system that could predict celestial events centuries in advance. Their calendar wasn't just about marking time, it was about understanding the universe's patterns and using that knowledge to thrive. By aligning their planting and harvesting with these celestial cycles, the Maya ensured their crops were timed perfectly with the rains and dry seasons, securing food for their people and stability for their society. Meanwhile, in ancient Egypt, the stars played a different but equally vital role. The annual flooding of the Nile was the lifeblood of Egyptian agriculture, and the timing of this event was critical. The Egyptians observed the heliacal rising of Sirius, the moment when the star first becomes visible just before dawn after a period of invisibility. This celestial event signaled the coming floodwaters, giving farmers time to prepare their fields. Without this astronomical insight, the entire agricultural system, and by extension, Egyptian civilization, would have been thrown into chaos. The stars, in this way, weren't just guides, they were partners in survival. These celestial calendars did more than track time, they shaped societies. By predicting seasonal changes, ancient cultures could plan not just for planting and harvesting, but for festivals, rituals, and even governance. The stars became a shared language, uniting communities under a common understanding of the cosmos. But this connection to the heavens went even deeper. For many ancient peoples, the stars weren't just tools, they were divine. The next step in our journey will explore how these celestial observations became intertwined with religious beliefs, transforming the stars from practical guides into sacred symbols. Across countless ancient civilizations, the stars were far more than just points of light in the night sky. They were sacred, woven into the very fabric of spirituality and belief. For many cultures, the heavens were a divine canvas where celestial bodies symbolized gods, ancestors, or cosmic forces that governed human destiny. Take the ancient Greeks, for example, who saw the constellations as reflections of their myths. The zodiac, with its 12 signs, wasn't just a way to track time. It was a spiritual map connecting mortals to the gods above. Each constellation told a story, from the heroic Perseus to the tragic Orion, embedding moral lessons and cultural identity into the stars themselves. In Hinduism, the nakshatra's 27 lunar mansions played a similar role. These star clusters were believed to influence human life, guiding everything from birth rituals to marriage ceremonies. Each nakshatra was associated with a deity, linking the heavens to earthly existence in a profound spiritual way. The stars weren't distant or impersonal. They were alive, infused with divine energy that shaped not only individual lives but the collective consciousness of entire communities. The Babylonians took this cosmic connection even further. Their astral religion saw the stars as literal manifestations of their gods. Venus, for instance, wasn't just a planet, it was Ishtar, the goddess of love and war, whose movements across the sky dictated the fortunes of kings and empires. Babylonian priests meticulously tracked these celestial patterns, interpreting them as divine messages. The stars in their eyes were a living language, one that required careful study to unlock the will of the gods. Meanwhile, in the Andes, the Inca civilization revered Inti, the sun god, as the ultimate source of life and power. Inti wasn't just a symbol, he was a father figure, central to their cosmology and daily rituals. The sun's journey across the sky was seen as a daily act of divine benevolence, ensuring the fertility of crops and the prosperity of the empire. Temples like the Coricancha in Cusco were built to honor Inti, aligning with celestial events to amplify their spiritual significance. These beliefs didn't just shape rituals, they molded entire moral codes and cultural identities. The stars and planets were seen as guardians of order and justice, their movements a reflection of cosmic balance. To live in harmony with the heavens was to live a righteous life, one that honored the gods and ensured prosperity for future generations. But how did ancient civilizations translate this cosmic reverence into practical knowledge? How did they observe and interpret the stars with such precision? The answer lies in the tools and techniques they developed, from simple observatories to sophisticated instruments that bridged the gap between the earthly and the divine. Imagine standing in the shadow of a massive stone circle, its towering pillars perfectly aligned with the rising sun on the longest day of the year. This wasn't just a feat of ancient engineering, it was a gateway to the heavens. Across the globe, civilizations built awe-inspiring observatories, not just to marvel at the stars, but to decode their secrets. From the mysterious rings of Stonehenge in England to the spiraling tower of El Caracol in Chichen Itza, these structures were more than monuments, they were tools of the celestial trade. At Stonehenge, the arrangement of stones aligns precisely with the summer and winter solstices, marking the turning points of the year. The Mayans, meanwhile, constructed El Caracol, a domed observatory with narrow slits designed to track the movements of Venus, a planet they associated with war and fertility. Over in China, the Dengfeng Observatory stood as a testament to precision, with its central gnomon casting shadows that measured the sun's position during equinoxes and solstices. These weren't just buildings, they were instruments carefully calibrated to map the heavens, but who operated these celestial tools? Often, it was the priests and scholars, the keepers of knowledge in their societies. These individuals weren't just stargazers, they were astronomers, mathematicians, and spiritual leaders. They meticulously recorded the movements of the stars, planets, and sun, using this data to predict seasons, plan agricultural cycles, and even forecast significant events. For many ancient cultures, the sky was a divine canvas, and these observatories served as bridges between the earthly and the celestial, blending science with spirituality. The knowledge gleaned from these structures wasn't just for the elite. It was passed down through generations, often encoded in myths, rituals, and oral traditions. Stories of the stars became lessons in navigation, timekeeping, and even governance. This blend of practical science and sacred belief created a legacy that endured for centuries, shaping how civilizations understood their place in the cosmos. As we reflect on these ancient observatories, we're reminded of humanity's enduring quest to understand the universe. But how did this celestial wisdom spread? How did the secrets of the stars travel across continents and cultures, influencing civilizations far beyond their origins? The answer lies in the interconnectedness of ancient knowledge, a story of shared discoveries that shaped the world as we know it. The stars have always held a profound place in human culture, but how did ancient civilizations ensure their celestial knowledge survived through the ages? The answer lies in their dedication to preserving what they observed, not just in the sky, but in their stories, myths, and records. Long before modern technology, oral traditions played a crucial role. Imagine sitting around a fire, listening to elders recount tales of constellations and their meaning, stories passed down from generation to generation. These narratives weren't just entertainment. They were a way to encode vital astronomical knowledge into memory. For instance, the Polynesians used chants and songs to map the stars and navigate vast oceans, turning their celestial observations into living, breathing traditions. But oral storytelling was only part of the equation. Written records became a cornerstone of preserving this knowledge, especially as civilizations grew more complex. Take the Babylonians, for example. They meticulously recorded their observations on clay tablets like the famous Emuel, a pin series which catalogued stars, planets, and even the timing of seasonal changes. These tablets weren't just scientific documents, they were a blend of astronomy, mythology, and practical guidance, serving as both a reference and a teaching tool. Scribes, often trained from a young age, played a vital role in this process. Their work ensured that the wisdom of the stars wasn't lost to time. Education was another key factor. In ancient Greece, academies like Plato's Academy placed great emphasis on understanding the cosmos, blending philosophy with astronomy. Similarly, the Maya of Mesoamerica created detailed codices, folded bark paper books, that recorded their astronomical observations and calendrical systems. These works were so precise that they could predict celestial events centuries in advance. Yet, despite their accuracy, the survival of such records often depended on the dedication of scholars and the institutions that supported them. Today, we face a different kind of challenge interpreting these ancient records. Time, weather, and even human conflict have erased or damaged many of these texts. What remains often requires painstaking translation and analysis, as modern researchers work to decode the symbols, numbers, and stories left behind. It's a reminder of how fragile our connection to the past can be, and how much we owe to those who took the time to preserve the stars in their own way. Ancient civilizations looked to the stars not just for navigation or spiritual guidance, but as a map of their universe, a cosmic blueprint etched into the fabric of their daily lives. Today, we're piecing together that map using tools they could never have imagined. Archaeologists and astronomers are joining forces, blending the old and the new to decode the secrets of ancient astronomy. It's a fascinating collaboration where modern technology meets millennia-old wisdom, unlocking stories written in the stars. One of the most groundbreaking tools in this field is satellite imagery. By scanning the Earth from above, researchers can identify patterns and alignments invisible from the ground. Take the Nazca lines, for example. These massive geoglyphs etched into the Peruvian desert have puzzled scientists for decades. But recent studies suggest they might align with celestial events like solstices or equinoxes, acting as a giant astronomical calendar. Imagine standing there thousands of years ago, watching the sun set precisely over a line that points to a constellation, a moment of connection between the Earth and the cosmos. Computer simulations are another game changer. By reconstructing ancient skies, scientists can see the heavens as our ancestors did. They can track the movement of stars and planets to understand how ancient cultures predicted eclipses, marked seasons, or even timed their harvest. These digital recreations are like time machines, transporting us back to a world where the night sky was a living, breathing guidebook. But it's not just about technology, it's about perspective. Modern researchers are learning to see the world through the eyes of ancient astronomers, interpreting their observations with a blend of scientific rigor and cultural understanding. This approach has led to discoveries that challenge our assumptions. For instance, some ancient star maps suggest a level of astronomical knowledge that rivals our own, achieved without telescopes or computers. It's a humbling reminder of human ingenuity and the timeless quest to understand the universe. As we uncover these ancient secrets, we're also rediscovering their relevance. The same stars that guided ancient sailors now inspire modern space exploration. The same celestial cycles that dictated planting seasons still influence our calendars. In many ways, the work of these ancient astronomers is still alive, woven into the fabric of our scientific progress. Their legacy reminds us that the stars are not just distant lights, they're a bridge connecting us to the past, the present, and the future. Long before telescopes and satellites, ancient civilizations gazed at the night sky not just in wonder, but with purpose. What began as astrology, a belief that the stars and planets held divine messages, slowly transformed into the foundations of modern astrophysics. Picture this: thousands of years ago, Babylonian priests meticulously tracked the movements of celestial bodies, creating some of the earliest star charts. These weren't just mystical tools, they were the first steps toward understanding the cosmos. Fast forward to ancient Greece, and we meet Ptolemy, whose geocentric model of the universe, though eventually proven incorrect, was a monumental leap in organizing celestial observations. Around the same time, in India, Aryabhatta was calculating the Earth's rotation and proposing that the planets orbited the Sun, ideas that would later inspire the heliocentric model championed by Copernicus and Galileo. But it wasn't just about mapping the stars. These early astronomers were also the pioneers of navigation. The same celestial patterns they used to predict events on Earth became a roadmap for explorers. Polynesian sailors, for instance, relied on the stars to navigate vast stretches of the Pacific Ocean, while Arab traders used astrolabes to guide their journeys across deserts and seas. These techniques didn't just connect ancient cultures, they laid the groundwork for the age of exploration, enabling figures like Christopher Columbus and Ferdinand Magellan to chart unknown territories. What's fascinating is how these ancient practices still echo in our modern world. The tools and methods may have evolved, but the curiosity that drove those early stargazers remains at the heart of astrophysics today. From the intricate star charts of antiquity to the cutting-edge telescopes scanning distant galaxies, humanity's quest to understand the cosmos is a story that spans millennia. And it all began with a simple question: what can the stars tell us about our place in the universe? As we move forward, let's explore how these ancient navigation techniques not only shaped exploration, but also influenced the way we think about the world and beyond. Picture this: a ship lost in the vast expanse of the ocean, its crew relying on the stars above to guide them to safety. Thousands of years ago, this was the reality for sailors navigating the seas. Fast forward to today, and we have satellites orbiting Earth, beaming precise coordinates to devices in our pockets. but have you ever wondered how we got from stars to satellites? The journey is a fascinating blend of ancient wisdom and modern innovation. Ancient mariners looked to the heavens for guidance, using the positions of stars like Polaris, the North Star, to determine their direction. This celestial navigation was a lifeline for civilizations like the Polynesians, who crossed the Pacific Ocean using star maps etched into their memories. But as European explorers set sail during the Age of Discovery, they needed more precise tools to chart unknown waters. Enter the astrolabe and the sextant instruments that transformed the way humans interacted with the night sky. The astrolabe, an ancient device used to measure the angle of stars above the horizon, was a marvel of its time. By aligning the device with a star, sailors could calculate their latitude, helping them stay on course. Later, the sextant refined this process, offering even greater accuracy. These tools bridged the gap between ancient celestial navigation and the sophisticated systems we use today. They were the stepping stones that paved the way for modern GPS technology, which relies on satellites rather than stars to pinpoint our exact location. But the story doesn't end there. The cultural impact of ancient astronomy is profound. For centuries, the stars were more than just navigational aids. They were symbols of power, divinity, and human curiosity. Ancient civilizations built temples aligned with celestial events, created myths around constellations, and used the stars to predict the seasons. This deep connection between humanity and the cosmos laid the groundwork for our modern understanding of the universe. So, as we marvel at the convenience of GPS, let's not forget the centuries of innovation and exploration that brought us here. The stars that once guided sailors across uncharted waters still hold a special place in our collective history, reminding us of the ingenuity and determination that have shaped human progress. Have you ever noticed how the stars above seem to whisper stories that have been told for thousands of years? Ancient astronomy wasn't just about navigation or predicting the seasons. It shaped the very fabric of human imagination. From the myths etched into the night sky to the towering structures that mimic the heavens, the celestial world has left an indelible mark on our culture. Even today, the constellations and stories crafted by ancient civilizations continue to inspire art, literature, and even the way we build our cities. Take the constellations, for example. These patterns in the stars were more than just maps for early navigators. They were the foundation of entire mythologies. The Greeks saw Orion the hunter, forever chasing the Pleiades across the sky, while the Egyptians linked the star Sirius with the goddess Isis, a symbol of rebirth and renewal. These stories didn't just fade into history, they've been retold and reimagined in countless ways. Modern authors and filmmakers still draw from these ancient tales, weaving celestial themes into their narratives. Think about how often you've seen the hero's journey tied to the stars, or how the idea of destiny is often framed as written in the heavens. But the influence of ancient astronomy doesn't stop at stories, it's etched into the very structures we live and work in. Ancient temples like the Parthenon in Greece or the pyramids of Egypt were often aligned with celestial events, blending science and spirituality. The sun's path, the phases of the moon, and the positions of stars were carefully calculated into their design. Fast forward to today, and you'll find modern architects still drawing inspiration from these celestial principles. Skyscrapers like New York's Chrysler Building or Dubai's Burj Khalifa seem to reach for the stars, their designs echoing the awe ancient people felt when they gazed at the night sky. And let's not forget art. From the intricate star maps of medieval manuscripts to Van Gogh's swirling, starry night, the cosmos has always been a muse for creators. Even in pop culture, celestial symbolism is everywhere. Think of the zodiac signs that dominate horoscopes, or the way space travel has become a metaphor for human ambition and exploration. It's as if the stars remind us of something timeless, something that connects us to the past while pointing us toward the future. So, what can we learn from this ancient wisdom? Perhaps it's the idea that the stars aren't just distant lights, they're a mirror, reflecting our dreams, fears, and endless curiosity. As we look to the future, the lessons of ancient astronomy remind us to keep looking up, to keep asking questions, and to find inspiration in the infinite. After all, the same sky that guided ancient sailors and inspired poets still hangs above us, waiting to spark the next chapter of human creativity. The stars have always been more than just points of light in the night sky. They were the ancient world's greatest teachers. From the towering ziggurats of Mesopotamia to the precise stone circles of Europe, our ancestors looked to the heavens not just for guidance, but for answers to life's deepest questions. Their ingenuity and resilience in mapping the cosmos, predicting celestial events, and creating calendars based on the stars are feats that still leave us in awe today. But what can we, in the modern age, learn from these ancient stargazers? Their methods of observation were remarkably sophisticated, even by today's standards. Without telescopes or advanced technology, they relied on meticulous record-keeping and an intimate understanding of the skies. The Mayans, for instance, tracked the movements of Venus with such precision that their calculations are accurate to within a few hours over thousands of years. Similarly, the ancient Egyptians aligned their pyramids with the stars, not just as monuments to their gods, but as celestial maps that reflected their belief in an eternal connection between the earthly and the divine. These civilizations didn't just observe the stars, they lived by them, weaving astronomy into every aspect of their culture, from agriculture to religion. This ancient wisdom offers more than just historical curiosity. It holds valuable lessons for how we approach science and exploration today. In an era where technology often feels like the answer to everything, the patience and dedication of these early astronomers remind us of the power of observation, curiosity, and persistence. They didn't have instant answers, but they asked the right questions, and that's a mindset we can all learn from. Their ability to see patterns in chaos, to find meaning in the unknown, is a skill that remains essential in modern scientific discovery. But beyond science, there's something even more profound to take away: the importance of preserving cultural heritage. These ancient practices weren't just about the stars, they were about identity, tradition, and the human need to understand our place in the universe. By studying and honoring these traditions, we not only keep their legacy alive, but also gain insight into the shared human experience that connects us across time and space. The stars they studied are the same ones we look at today, and in that shared sky we find a timeless link to our past. Yet, for all we've learned from ancient astronomy, there are still mysteries that remain unsolved. How did the builders of Stonehenge align its stones with such precision? What secrets lie hidden in the star charts of the Polynesian navigators who crossed vast oceans guided only by the stars? These questions remind us that the night sky is still a frontier, a source of wonder and discovery that continues to inspire us to look up and dream. And perhaps that's the greatest lesson of all, that the stars are not just a map of the past, but a guide to the future. Long before the invention of telescopes or satellites, ancient civilizations looked to the skies and left behind artifacts and monuments that continue to baffle us today. Take, for instance, the Antikythera mechanism, an intricate device discovered in a shipwreck off the coast of Greece. Often referred to as the world's first analog computer, this bronze artifact dates back over 2,000 years. Its precise gears and dials were used to predict celestial events like eclipses and the movements of planets. But here's the mystery: how did an ancient culture achieve such advanced engineering? And what was its true purpose? Was it a tool for navigation, a religious device, or perhaps even a way to demonstrate the power of ruling elites? Despite decades of research, the Antikythera mechanism remains a tantalizing puzzle, reminding us of the ingenuity of our ancestors. Then there are the Nazca lines of Peru, vast geoglyphs etched into the desert floor, visible only from the air. These massive drawings depict animals, plants, and geometric patterns, some stretching hundreds of meters across. But why were they created? Some researchers believe they were astronomical markers, pointing to celestial bodies or aligning with solstices. Others suggest they were part of rituals to communicate with the gods or even extraterrestrial beings. While modern technology has allowed us to map these lines in stunning detail, their true purpose remains shrouded in mystery, sparking endless debates and fueling our imagination. What's fascinating is how these enigmas connect us across time. Just as ancient astronomers gazed at the stars with a mix of curiosity and reverence, modern scientists are driven by the same sense of wonder. Today, researchers use cutting-edge tools like 3D scanning and computer modeling to unravel the secrets of artifacts like the Antikythera mechanism, while satellite imagery helps decode the Nazca Line's celestial connections. These efforts remind us that the quest to understand the cosmos is a timeless human endeavor. And it's not just about solving puzzles, it's about understanding how ancient cultures saw themselves in relation to the universe. From the pyramids of Egypt to the stone circles of Stonehenge, these astronomical marvels reveal a deep connection between humanity and the heavens. They remind us that no matter how much we've advanced technologically, the stars above still hold the power to inspire and mystify us. As we explore these mysteries, it's worth remembering that ancient astronomy wasn't confined to one region or culture. From the Mayans in Mesoamerica to the Babylonians in Mesopotamia, civilizations across the globe looked to the skies, each interpreting the stars in their own unique way. This global tapestry of ancient astronomy invites us to see the world not as a collection of isolated cultures, but as a network of interconnected minds, all reaching for the same celestial truth. It's fascinating to think about how, despite vast distances and cultural differences, ancient civilizations around the world shared a common thread: their reverence for the stars. From the Maya in Mesoamerica to the Polynesian navigators of the Pacific, and from the Chinese astronomers to the scholars of the Islamic Golden Age, the night sky was a universal canvas painted with stories, guidance, and power. Each culture interpreted the stars in its own unique way, yet many of their systems shared striking similarities. The constellations we recognize today, like Orion or the Big Dipper, appear in the mythologies of cultures separated by oceans and centuries. How did this happen? The answer lies in the movement of people, ideas, and knowledge across the ancient world. The Silk Road, for instance, wasn't just a route for trading silk and spices, it was a highway for exchanging ideas. Astronomers and merchants traveling these routes carried with them star charts, calendars, and celestial observations, blending the knowledge of the East and West. Similarly, the Mediterranean Sea connected the Egyptians, Greeks, and later the Romans, creating a melting pot of astronomical thought. The Greeks, for example, built upon the work of Babylonian astronomers who had meticulously tracked the movements of planets and stars centuries earlier. This cross-cultural exchange wasn't always peaceful. Conquest and empire building also played a role in spreading astronomical knowledge. When Alexander the Great expanded his empire into Persia and India, Greek astronomy traveled with him, merging with local traditions to create new systems of understanding the cosmos. What's truly remarkable is how these ancient cultures, without modern tools or communication, arrived at similar conclusions about the stars. The Polynesians, for example, used the stars to navigate the vast Pacific Ocean, relying on the positions of specific constellations to guide their voyages. Meanwhile, halfway across the world, the Maya developed a sophisticated calendar system based on the movements of Venus, which they believed held great spiritual and political significance. These shared practices reveal a universal human fascination with the night sky, a desire to make sense of the cosmos and our place within it. But as we explore this global tapestry of celestial knowledge, there's one group whose contributions have often been overlooked: women. In many ancient societies, women played a vital role in astronomy, not just as observers but as innovators and keepers of knowledge. From the priestesses of Babylon who interpreted celestial omens to the female scholars of medieval Islamic observatories, women were often at the heart of astronomical discovery. Their stories remind us that the history of the stars isn't just about empires and conquests, it's about the people who looked up, wondered, and dared to understand. The stars have always been a source of wonder and guidance, but for ancient civilizations, they were also a domain where women played pivotal roles, often overshadowed by history. While we often think of astronomy as a male-dominated field, women like Hypatia of Alexandria and the priestesses of Mesopotamia were not just observers of the heavens, they were interpreters, scholars, and keepers of celestial knowledge. Hypatia, a brilliant mathematician and philosopher in 4th century Alexandria, was one of the first women to make significant contributions to the study of the stars. Her work in astronomy and mathematics was groundbreaking, and she became a symbol of intellectual pursuit in a time when women were rarely afforded such opportunities. But her story is just one thread in a much larger tapestry. Long before Hypatia, in the ancient land of Mesopotamia, priestesses held sacred roles as intermediaries between the gods and the people. These women were not only spiritual leaders but also skilled astronomers. They meticulously tracked the movements of celestial bodies, using their observations to predict events like eclipses and to guide agricultural cycles. Their work was deeply intertwined with the culture and religion of their time, as they interpreted the stars as messages from the gods. Despite societal norms that often restricted women's roles, these priestesses carved out spaces where their knowledge and expertise were indispensable. What's remarkable is how these women defied the expectations of their eras. In societies where women's contributions were frequently minimized, they found ways to assert their intellectual prowess. Hypatia, for instance, taught in a public forum, a rare privilege for women in her time, while Mesopotamian priestesses used their religious authority to legitimize their scientific work. Their achievements remind us that the pursuit of knowledge has always transcended gender, even when the world around them tried to dictate otherwise. As we reflect on their legacy, it's impossible to ignore the profound connection between astronomy and mythology in their work. The stars weren't just scientific tools for these women, they were stories, symbols, and spiritual guides. This intersection of science and storytelling shaped how ancient cultures understood the cosmos and their place within it, a theme we'll explore further as we dive into the myths that gave the stars their meaning. Across the night sky, the stars weren't just points of light to our ancestors, they were stories waiting to be told. Every culture, from the Greeks to the indigenous peoples of the Americas, saw patterns in the heavens and wove them into myths that explain the world, the gods, and even human behavior. Take Orion, for example. To the ancient Greeks, Orion was a mighty hunter, forever immortalized in the stars after his death. But in some indigenous Australian traditions, the same group of stars represents a fisherman chasing his prey across the celestial sea. These constellations weren't just random dots, they were characters in a cosmic drama, teaching lessons about bravery, love, and the consequences of hubris. Then there's Ursa Major, the great bear which appears in countless cultures. To the Greeks, it was Callisto, a nymph transformed into a bear by the jealous goddess Hera. But for the Iroquois, it was a great bear being chased by hunters, a story that explained the changing seasons. And what about the Pleiades, known as the Seven Sisters in Greek mythology? These stars were said to be the daughters of Atlas, fleeing from the hunter Orion. Yet in Japanese folklore, they're called Subaru, representing a cluster of jewels gifted by the gods. These stories weren't just entertaining, they were a way to pass down wisdom, warn against arrogance, and remind people of their place in the universe. But these myths weren't just about storytelling, they were deeply practical too. The stars served as a celestial calendar, helping ancient societies track seasons, plant crops, and navigate vast distances. The same constellations that inspired tales of gods and heroes also guided sailors across the Mediterranean and farmers in Mesopotamia. In this way, the stars bridged the gap between the spiritual and the everyday, connecting the heavens to human life in profound ways. And as we'll see next, this connection wasn't just poetic. It was the foundation of some of the earliest scientific discoveries in history. Ancient civilizations didn't just gaze at the stars for philosophical wonder, they used them as practical tools for survival and societal structure. The night sky was their clock, their calendar, and even their weather forecaster. For example, the Egyptians aligned their great pyramids with the stars of Orion's belt, not just as a symbolic gesture, but to mark the annual flooding of the Nile. This celestial event was crucial for agriculture as it signaled the perfect time to plant crops. Imagine looking up at the stars and knowing exactly when to prepare your fields for the year ahead. This wasn't just science, it was life itself. But the stars didn't just dictate the rhythms of farming, they also shaped entire cultural and religious traditions. The Maya, for instance, were master astronomers who used their observations to create incredibly precise calendars. These calendars weren't just for tracking days, they were central to their spiritual practices. Major celestial events like solstices or eclipses were tied to festivals and ceremonies, marking moments of renewal or divine favor. The alignment of temples with celestial phenomena wasn't accidental. It was a way of connecting the heavens to the earth, blending the sacred with the everyday. Even the simplest aspects of daily life were influenced by the stars. Sailors used constellations like the North Star to navigate vast oceans, while farmers relied on the rising and setting of certain stars to predict seasonal changes. The Greeks, for example, looked to the heliacal rising of Sirius, the brightest star in the sky, to predict the hot, dry days of summer. This knowledge wasn't just academic, it was woven into the fabric of their lives, guiding decisions from planting crops to planning voyages. Yet, while the stars brought light and order, they also cast shadows. The same celestial knowledge that guided societies could also be wielded as a tool of power and control. From predicting eclipses to interpreting omens, those who understood the heavens often held sway over the masses. This darker side of celestial power, where the stars became instruments of influence and manipulation, would shape the course of history in ways both profound and troubling. For ancient civilizations, the night sky was not just a map or a clock. It was a message board from the gods, and sometimes those messages were terrifying. Imagine standing under a sky suddenly ablaze with a comet's fiery tail, or watching the sun disappear midday during an eclipse. To us, these are awe-inspiring natural phenomena. But to the ancients, they were often seen as harbingers of doom, celestial omens warning of disaster, divine wrath, or impending chaos. Take comets, for example. In many cultures, these hairy stars were viewed as omens of catastrophe. The Romans believed comets signaled the death of an emperor or the fall of a kingdom. When a comet appeared in 44 BC, it was interpreted as a sign of Julius Caesar's assassination. Similarly, in China, comets were often associated with upheaval, wars, famines, or the collapse of dynasties. The very unpredictability of comets made them deeply unsettling, as if the gods themselves were sending a warning no one could ignore. Eclipses, too, struck fear into the hearts of ancient people. The sudden disappearance of the sun or moon was seen as a disruption of the natural order. in Mesopotamia, eclipses were thought to foretell the death of a king or the invasion of enemies. To prevent disaster, rulers would sometimes appoint a substitute king to bear the brunt of the omen, while the real king hid in safety. In the Americas, the Maya believed eclipses were a sign that the sun or moon was being devoured by a celestial monster, requiring rituals to restore balance. Meteor showers were no less alarming. These falling stars were often interpreted as divine anger or a sign that the heavens were in turmoil. The ancient Greeks saw meteorites as messages from the gods, sometimes even worshipping them as sacred objects. But for others, they were a cause for panic. In medieval Europe, meteor showers were sometimes linked to plagues or wars, as if the sky itself was raining down destruction. These celestial omens didn't just inspire fear, they shaped history. Rulers used them to justify their actions, claiming divine favor or warning of divine punishment. Wars were delayed or launched based on the stars, and entire societies were thrown into upheaval by the interpretation of a single celestial event. The power of these omens lay in their mystery. No one could fully understand them, but everyone believed they held meaning. And this belief in the stars as messengers of fate didn't stop at disasters. It also extended to the battlefield, where ancient armies turned to the heavens for guidance. From predicting the outcomes of wars to timing their attacks by the stars, astronomy became a weapon as powerful as any sword or spear. But that's a story for the next chapter in our journey through the stars. Ancient civilizations didn't just look to the stars for guidance, they weaponized them. Astronomy wasn't just a tool for navigation or timekeeping. It became a critical element of military strategy. Imagine a Roman legion marching under the cover of night, their path illuminated by the unwavering North Star. This celestial guide wasn't just a navigational aid. It was a tactical advantage, allowing armies to move swiftly and silently through enemy territory under the cloak of darkness. The stars, in essence, became a silent ally in the art of war. The Mayans took this celestial strategy to another level. Their intricate astronomical knowledge wasn't just about predicting eclipses or marking the seasons. It was about finding the perfect moment to strike. They believed that certain celestial alignments signified auspicious times for conflict, times when the gods themselves might favor their cause. By carefully observing the movements of Venus and other planets, Mayan rulers could plan battles with a precision that felt almost divine. It wasn't just about numbers or brute force. It was about aligning human actions with the rhythms of the cosmos. But how did this celestial knowledge shape the outcomes of battles? Take the Roman legions, for example. Their ability to navigate vast, unfamiliar terrains under the guidance of the North Star gave them an edge over less organized foes. They could position their troops with precision, launch surprise attacks, and retreat under the cover of night without losing their way. It was a quiet, almost invisible advantage, but one that often turned the tide of war. Yet, as powerful as these practices were, they weren't destined to last forever. Over time, the reliance on celestial navigation and timing began to wane. The rise of new technologies like the compass and more detailed maps started to overshadow the ancient methods. Empires fell, and with them, much of the astronomical knowledge that had once been so vital to their survival. The stars, once central to the art of war, gradually faded from the battlefield. This decline marks a turning point in the story of ancient astronomy, a shift from the stars as tools of power to the stars as objects of curiosity. But even as the practical applications faded, the legacy of these celestial strategies lived on, influencing how future generations would think about the sky and their place beneath it. For centuries, the skies were a source of wonder and wisdom, guiding ancient civilizations in ways that shaped their cultures, their beliefs, and even their survival. But as empires rose and fell, so too did the intricate systems of knowledge they had built around the stars. The decline of ancient astronomy wasn't a single event. It was a gradual unraveling, driven by a mix of political upheaval, cultural shifts, and outright destruction. One of the most devastating blows came with the fall of great empires, like the Roman Empire in the west and the decline of the Han dynasty in the east. These collapses disrupted the networks of scholars, libraries, and observatories that had kept astronomical traditions alive. Without the support of these centralized powers, the meticulous records and tools of stargazing were often lost or abandoned. Imagine the vast libraries of Alexandria, a treasure trove of astronomical texts, going up in flames. Knowledge that had been painstakingly gathered over generations, reduced to ashes in a matter of days. It wasn't just the loss of books, it was the erasure of a worldview, a way of understanding the cosmos that would take centuries to rebuild. At the same time, the rise of new religions and belief systems began to overshadow the scientific pursuits of earlier cultures. In some cases, the stars became less about navigation or timekeeping and more about divine will or prophecy. While this shift brought new perspectives, it also led to the suppression of certain astronomical practices. In medieval Europe, for example, the Church often viewed the study of the stars with suspicion, associating it with pagan traditions or heresy. This tension between faith and science caused many ancient astronomical techniques to fade into obscurity. Yet, even as these traditions declined, fragments of this knowledge survived, carried forward by a handful of dedicated scholars and cultures. The Islamic Golden Age, for instance, played a crucial role in preserving and expanding upon the astronomical works of the Greeks, Persians, and Indians. Scholars like al-Battani and al-Sufi translated ancient texts, refined observations, and developed new instruments that would later influence European astronomy. Meanwhile, in places like India and China, astronomical traditions continued to evolve, blending ancient wisdom with new discoveries. The resilience of ancient astronomy is a testament to its enduring power. Even as empires crumbled and knowledge was lost, the stars remained a constant, inspiring future generations to rediscover and build upon what had come before. This legacy reminds us that while civilizations may rise and fall, the pursuit of understanding the cosmos is a thread that connects us all. And as we'll see next, this thread would weave its way through history, leading to remarkable revivals and new beginnings. The stars have always held a mysterious allure, guiding humanity not just across oceans and deserts, but through the passage of time itself. Despite wars, shifting empires, and the rise and fall of countless civilizations, the astronomical wisdom of the ancients managed to survive. How did this knowledge endure? It wasn't just written in stone or parchment, it was carried forward through the stories of people, passed down from one generation to the next. Oral traditions played a vital role, with elders recounting myths and legends that encoded celestial secrets. These stories weren't just entertainment, they were maps, calendars, and tools for survival, preserving the movements of the stars in the collective memory of communities. But oral traditions weren't the only way this knowledge survived. Ancient texts like the Babylonian clay tablets or the Egyptian star charts offer a glimpse into the meticulous observations made by early astronomers. These records, often buried for centuries, were rediscovered by later generations, allowing us to piece together how our ancestors understood the cosmos. And let's not forget the role of archaeology. Each unearthed artifact, whether it's a Mayan observatory or a Greek astrolabe, adds another layer to the story of humanity's celestial journey. What's truly remarkable is how this ancient fascination with the stars never faded. Even as societies evolved and technologies advanced, the allure of the night sky remained. The same constellations that guided Polynesian navigators across the Pacific still captivate stargazers today. The same planets that Babylonian priests tracked are now studied by modern astronomers. It's a testament to the enduring power of the stars to inspire wonder and curiosity. And now, in our modern age, we're witnessing something extraordinary, a revival of these ancient practices. From astrologers drawing on centuries-old charts to scientists using indigenous star lore to understand historical climate patterns, the wisdom of the past is finding new relevance. It's a reminder that the stars aren't just distant objects in the sky. They're a bridge connecting us to the minds and hearts of those who came before us. As we look up at the same night sky, we're not just observers, we're part of an unbroken chain of curiosity, reaching back to the very dawn of civilization. Ancient astronomy isn't just a relic of the past, it's alive and thriving in our modern world. From the daily horoscopes millions check to the celestial motifs that dominate movies, fashion, and art, there's a clear resurgence of interest in the stars and how ancient civilizations understood them. Astrology, for instance, has seen a massive cultural revival, with platforms like social media turning zodiac signs and planetary alignments into trending topics. But this isn't just about entertainment. It's a deeper connection to the wisdom of our ancestors, a way of finding meaning in the cosmos just as they did. Beyond astrology, ancient astronomy has found its way into modern storytelling. Think about how often celestial themes appear in blockbuster films, books, and video games. The night sky, with its constellations and mysteries, has become a universal symbol of exploration and wonder, much like it was for the ancient Greeks, Egyptians, and Mayans. Even in education, museums around the world are showcasing artifacts like astrolabes and ancient star maps, offering visitors a glimpse into how early societies navigated and understood the heavens. Festivals celebrating celestial events such as solstices and eclipses are also seeing a revival. These gatherings, often rooted in traditions thousands of years old, bring communities together to witness the same phenomena that captivated our ancestors. It's a powerful reminder of how deeply connected we still are to the rhythms of the universe. But as we rediscover and reinterpret these ancient practices, it's worth asking, what responsibilities come with this knowledge? How do we honor the cultural and spiritual significance these celestial traditions held for their creators? The study of ancient astronomy isn't just about decoding star charts or replicating rituals. It's about understanding the people behind them and ensuring their legacy is preserved with respect and integrity. This brings us to a critical question. As we explore the stars through the eyes of the past, how do we ensure our actions today are ethical and meaningful? As we explore the fascinating world of ancient astronomy, it's crucial to pause and consider the ethical responsibilities that come with studying these practices. After all, the stars weren't just tools for navigation or power. They were deeply woven into the spiritual, cultural, and daily lives of ancient civilizations. When we study their celestial knowledge, we're not just uncovering scientific methods. We're stepping into a sacred space that demands respect and sensitivity. One of the most pressing ethical considerations is the treatment of cultural heritage. Ancient astronomical tools, artifacts, and even entire sites often hold immense spiritual and historical significance for descendant communities. For example, many indigenous groups today view certain star maps or celestial alignments as sacred knowledge passed down through generations. Researchers must approach these materials with care, ensuring that their work doesn't exploit or misrepresent these traditions. Collaboration with descendant communities is key. By involving them in the research process, archaeologists can ensure that their findings honor the living legacy of these ancient practices rather than reducing them to mere curiosities. Another critical issue is the repatriation of artifacts. Many ancient objects related to astronomy, like astrolabes, star charts, or ceremonial items, have been removed from their places of origin and placed in museums or private collections far from their cultural context. Repatriation efforts aim to return these items to their rightful communities, allowing them to reclaim their heritage. This isn't just about ownership, it's about restoring dignity and acknowledging the deep connections between people, their ancestors, and the cosmos. Preservation is equally vital. Sacred sites such as stone circles, temples aligned with solstices, or ancient observatories are often vulnerable to damage from tourism, development, or even well-meaning but intrusive research. Protecting these sites isn't just about safeguarding history, it's about respecting the spiritual and cultural values they embody. Organizations and researchers are increasingly adopting practices like non-invasive technology, such as ground-penetrating radar or 3D modeling, to study these sites without disturbing them. Looking ahead, the future of ancient astronomy research lies in balancing discovery with respect. As we uncover more about how our ancestors understood the stars, we must also reflect on how our work impacts the living descendants of those civilizations. By prioritizing ethical practices, fostering collaboration, and preserving cultural heritage, we can ensure that the study of ancient astronomy remains a source of enlightenment, not exploitation. This thoughtful approach not only honors the past but also paves the way for a more inclusive and respectful future in archaeology. The wisdom of ancient astronomers didn't just fade into the stars, it continues to shape our understanding of the universe in ways we're only beginning to uncover. What if the secrets of the past could unlock groundbreaking discoveries in the future? By blending ancient knowledge with modern technology, we're entering a new era where the sky is no longer the limit. Take, for example, how modern astronomers are revisiting ancient star maps and celestial records. These age-old documents, once used to predict seasons or navigate vast oceans, are now being analyzed with cutting-edge tools like artificial intelligence and satellite imaging. This interdisciplinary approach is revealing patterns and insights that were invisible to the naked eye thousands of years ago. It's not just about rediscovering the past, it's about using that knowledge to push the boundaries of what we know today. But innovation isn't the only key to preserving this legacy. Education and public engagement play a vital role in keeping ancient astronomy alive. Imagine a world where students learn not just about the Hubble telescope, but also about how Polynesian navigators used the stars to cross the Pacific, or how the Maya tracked Venus with astonishing precision. By weaving these stories into our classrooms and cultural institutions, we ensure that the brilliance of ancient astronomers isn't lost to time, and let's not forget the cultural impact. Ancient astronomy wasn't just a science, it was a way of understanding humanity's place in the cosmos. By studying how our ancestors made sense of the heavens, we gain a deeper appreciation for the shared curiosity that connects us across centuries. This isn't just about preserving history, it's about inspiring future generations to look up, wonder, and explore. As we reflect on the journey of ancient astronomy, from guiding travelers to empowering civilizations, it's clear that this knowledge is more than a relic of the past. It's a bridge to the future, one that invites us to innovate, educate, and dream bigger than ever before. The stars have always been our guide, and with the tools of today, they'll continue to light the way for discoveries we can't yet imagine. Throughout history, the stars have been more than just distant lights in the night sky. They were tools, guides, and symbols of power for ancient civilizations. From the Polynesian navigators who charted vast oceans using the patterns of constellations, to the Egyptians who aligned their pyramids with celestial bodies, the ingenuity of these cultures is nothing short of remarkable. They didn't just look to the stars, they relied on them to shape their worlds, from grand architectural feats to the daily rhythms of life. This connection between humanity and the cosmos wasn't just practical, it was deeply spiritual. The stars represented order, divinity, and the mysteries of existence. Civilizations like the Maya and Babylonians didn't merely observe the heavens, They wove them into their myths, calendars, and rituals, creating systems that still fascinate us today. Their ability to decode the movements of celestial bodies and turn that knowledge into power speaks to a level of resilience and creativity that continues to inspire. Even now, their legacy lives on. Modern astronomy, navigation, and even space exploration owe a debt to these ancient stargazers. The methods they developed, the stories they told, and the awe they felt for the night sky remind us that our ancestors were not so different from us. They, too, looked up and wondered, dreamed, and sought meaning in the vastness above. So, the next time you gaze at the stars, take a moment to reflect on the incredible journey of discovery that began thousands of years ago. Think about the hands that first mapped the constellations, the minds that deciphered their secrets, and the cultures that saw the heavens as both a guide and a source of power. The night sky is not just a canvas of beauty. It's a living testament to human ingenuity and our enduring quest to understand the universe. If this journey through history sparked your curiosity, let us know in the comments below. What fascinates you most about ancient civilizations and their relationship with the stars? Don't forget to subscribe and join us as we uncover more mysteries from the past. Together, we'll keep exploring the stories that connect us to the stars and to each other.